Hello there, shadow workers. I got a very distinct message today, and it's not going to be for everybody, but it's a really deep, powerful thing. And it feels like it's coming directly from your shadow self. So there's been a wound in your heart, a wound in your soul that has even spread to your mind somewhat. Um, because as we know, getting involved with certain people who wreck your heart, who wreck your soul, will also end up wrecking your mind. So, your shadow self is telling me that there has been, if you've been involved with a person either in the past or at present or someone you're interested in who is going to be mirroring a specific wound from your attachment, from your childhood, from your nervous system. And that it's really important, your guides are really, really adamant about this, that you understand that this is happening now because it's going to save you a world of hurt later, okay? And so a lot of times when we are caught up with people who have attachment wounds, we may even be securely attached. So if you don't know much about attachment theory, there's avoidant attachment. So someone who, when they get close to somebody else, they want to run away because it feels dangerous. Then we have an anxious wound who want to kind of cling on to somebody. And then you have secure attachment, which has to do with, being securely attached to someone. And then there's another one that's called fearful avoidant or disorganized, which is a combination of anxious and avoidant attachment. So I just want to say that these are all wounds that occur because of like the way that we're treated in childhood, right? But you need to remember, your shadow needs to remember that just because you feel feelings for somebody, you feel intensity for somebody, it doesn't necessarily mean love, especially early on. Even late, even if you're like further into a relationship, a lot of relationships are built on one person's attachment wound attaching to another person's attachment wound. So like, I had a friend who said that she had a psychology professor or something say that like, if there's a room of 300 people, the two traumatized people will find each other. It's like an energy they give off, right? And so if your nervous system is used to being pushed away, like love was only shown to you in a really passive manner growing up. There's this saying that says like, when you learn to lick love off of knives, then getting love on a silver spoon seems like crazy. It seems impossible. And so when that happens, if love is pushed away from you, so basically love is an avoiding thing. Love is you have been taught that love will avoid you. And then later you grow up, when you meet someone who's avoidant or trying to run away from you, you're like, the only way I can feel love for them is to chase them. This is how you're mirroring that energy. And for them, it was probably the opposite. Maybe they had a clingy parent, or maybe they got attention, but it was only negative. And so they want to find someone who's going to chase them, who's going to make them feel like they have closeness, but without ever have to actually get close to a person. And that's where the chase dynamic comes up a lot. Now, I want you to remember that this mirror is one of the most powerful tools that you can use for yourself. But if you're not careful, you can get stuck into a trauma bond. So this connection that you had in the past, or that you're in now, or that maybe you're dating someone, or it's someone who's going to come into your life soon, they're here to teach you something. Now, the goal and the hope is that you learn whatever it is early on and as pain-free as possible. But a lot of times our wounds make it to where safety doesn't feel safe, but chaos feels natural because that's what our nervous system is used to. So once again, I would encourage you, if you can, because it can be very hard, because maybe you mistook intensity for love, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've all done it. Like I said, our society teaches us to do that. So it doesn't make you crazy or weird. It just makes you a human who was taught these kinds of patterns when you were younger. But your subconscious is kind of screaming out because now you're associating love with pain. Maybe love with chasing if you're feeling really anxious all the time. If you've caught yourself in an avoidant relationship, or if you're the avoidant and you're in the anxious, you've got someone anxious chasing you. Both of these put your mind and your body and your nervous system on edge. And your shadow is saying, why? Why do I have to suffer like this? But your mind, it's more like your mind is like, why am I suffering like this? And your shadow and stuff is like running the wheel, right? And just so you know, shadow workers, if this content is helpful for you at all, I have a ton of other things like tarot reading, Black Mirror, scrying, all based around exploring and healing your subconscious mind. I also do dream interpretation. So please, if you have been part of this community, please consider subscribing so that we can share the message. Okay, so when it comes to the subconscious speaks in symbols. The subconscious is a mirror. So, you've probably heard about Carl Jung and talking about projection. So projection is basically when you see somebody and they're acting out, you think, okay, that's a them problem, right? They're attacking that other person on this certain issue because they're insecure about it themselves. When you've reached this sort of more elevated mindset and you're not just reacting to everything, you understand that there's a purpose behind every action and reaction. So your guides have a very specific message, and it is that you need to question this past connection for some of you and what it actually did to your mind. Okay, so you were in it for a while and it twisted your viewpoint. So by becoming the mirror to someone who's distorted, it distorted your own mirror. So if you were in a past relationship like this, your guides are asking you to stop and take some time to remember who you were before this connection. And maybe you were more trusting. Maybe you felt like you were more innocent. Maybe you felt like, oh, I was so naive. Well, remember, you can get your whimsy and your joy and your personality back while keeping your heart guarded from these kinds of toxic or predatory people. And a lot of times, some people mean to, but a lot of times, especially with attachment stuff, they don't mean to. But remember, it does not negate what they end up doing to you. And so there's no excuse to stay around, even if you're like trying to be nice or whatever. For your second group of you, which are those who are currently involved in one of these dynamics, I would say, let me hear, the guides are saying that you need to reflect on this as a mirror of your inner wound. And you need to dig in and find out what that inner wound is. And of course, as always, get the help you need externally if you need it. So I just feel the weight of, there's like a feeling of urgency and panic around this because it feels like this person, you want them so bad, but they just keep slipping through your fingers and you keep wanting to pull them back and pull them back. And what if you just let go and focused on yourself for a little bit? What if all that urgency and stuff was, I guess, what do you call it, like a false flag? Like it's put there specifically in order to keep you hooked, and that it's not necessarily real, but manufactured specifically to make you chase. Because this other person, whether they have an attachment wound or a narcissistic issue, whatever, That's what they actually, in a lot of ways, they affect you and function the same way, even though it's done. Avoidance do it on accident, narcissists do it on purpose, kind of thing. I know that's probably oversimplified, but so if you're in this situation, you need to find a way to, I guess, get out of earshot. I'm getting like a buzzing in my ear, like get out of earshot of this person for a while so that they're not influencing your mindset. So, like, take a week to focus on yourself. Take some time where they're not in your ear and give your time self to process the emotion. Instead of them running away, you chasing, you say stop and then step back, understanding you may lose them. But if you're in a situation where there's this constant urgency and there's constant feeling of fear and anxiety, and you don't remember what it's like to be out of survival mode because you're trapped in this person's manufactured drama and you're mirroring it now. Now you are chaos too. You weren't chaos before, but now you are chaos. And then you have to ask yourself, and this is really hard, and the guides keep pushing it, and I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it because the guides won't stop it. What in you wants the chaos? You don't produce it, but why are you chasing it? What is that fulfilling? What is that fulfilling in you? And you already know the answer, right? Feels confusing, but it's because it was what you were used to. And now for those of you who, looking forward, have either just met somebody and you're overriding a few flags, whether they're yellow or red, or you have a kind heart. Your guides keep giving me this like sense of overflowing empathy. So you have such a kind heart and you'll be like, oh, I see their potential. Oh, I see the best in them. And oh, they didn't mean that. Well, I just want to say when you're early on, that's the best time to keep that guard up and to let them walk if they want to. So the first time that they disappear, let them go. Because if you're really early on and you're already feeling clinging, like you want to cling to this person, that means the trap has been set. They might not know they said it. You might not realize it's happening. But if you're feeling an urgency about it, it means they've already got you connecting your mind and your nervous system to the fantasy that they're trying to present you with. So especially look out for love bombing. So lots of love words like you're not going to hurt me, right? Like early on, you've got to be careful about that. But also you need to be careful about obviously future faking, them already talking about your future together, using claiming language over you immediately. Some people will say, oh, I'm just a bad person. Believe them. Believe them at the beginning. Don't wait around and let them prove themselves different. Don't just see if they say that they're a bad person, then either they're a bad person and they know it, or they're not healed, right? They're not healed. And so that even if they're not a bad person, they think they're a bad person. Therefore, they have a personal healing to do and have no reason to be dragging you into a relationship. Because I know, and you may have been like, I feel like for a portion of you who watch this now or in the future, that you were secure when you met this person. And now, before, during, or after, you're in shambles. For a specific group of you out there, I feel like you still haven't been able to realign your heart and your mind after all this. The mirror is distorted. So Yeats has this poem called The Two Trees, and in it he talks about there's this mirror, and he says, beloved, gaze in thine own heart, the holy tree is growing there. And then, so he talks about how beautiful your heart is. And then in the second half of the poem, he says, gaze no more in the bitter glass. And so that is the twisted, that is the shadow, that is the exiled parts of yourself. And if another person, purposefully or not, triggers you to exile parts of yourself even further, because we all had to exile ourselves to survive as children. We all had to exile our parts of ourselves because we were young and we didn't know any better and people were telling us to. And we thought, oh, this is just the way of the world. But now you're an adult. And if there are other people out there having you exile parts of yourself. Now it's different to conceal parts of yourself for your own privacy and safety. We all have our own secret gardens inside, right? And that's a treasure unto ourselves. But if you're taking beautiful parts of yourself, like, for example, let's say you love to sing and dance. I love to sing and dance all day, every day. You're beautiful, whatever makes your beautiful spirit soar. But when you're around this person, all that is overridden by anxiety. When are they going to call again? What if they disappear this time? Or even micro criticisms. So then you stop. Whatever it is if you love to dance and sing or whatever it is you'll do. And this connection, you realize you're not doing any of those things anymore. And it feels like you've been weighted down. Your guides are saying you are bigger than this. You are like the phoenix. Like, you need to rip this weight off of your heart. Because I can, I feel it like right now, what you're feeling. Like, it's like your heart is there. And then hanging into your solar plexus is like this weight. It's like, to me, it's like teardrop shape. Like, it's just a weight, kind of like dragging it down. Ooh. You deserve so much better than this. And remember, you can love yourself better than anybody else. And once you're in that self-possessed love, you stop mirroring other people and other people's wounds. And you start embodying, oh, I feel it, yes, your guides. You're embodying your own power. And through that, instead of mirroring them, you become a solid mirror. And this will be real weird, right? Because then you start mirroring other people back to themselves instead of absorbing their image, right? So instead of mirroring them, you become the mirror. And that mirror is the guardrails that keeps people away who, it's like a built-in safety mechanism, right? When you become the mirror, toxic people, they come and they look in the mirror and they see their toxicity and they run away screaming in the sunset. But you have to let them go, right? And that's the hardest part. Okay, beloveds. Whew. I feel so many more emotions around this. You guys are just such powerful shadow workers. And thank you for being here. And I will see you next week. And remember your breath work. Remember your somatic exercises. There's some great somatic exercises on YouTube. And just as much self-love as you can direct it yourself, and self-focus. Remember, you make these people special by giving them your attention, right? Stop giving them attention. Start giving yourself attention. Make yourself special, because you are special, okay? All right, I'll see you next week.